people of the internet. Ian Altosaar, the Freedom Astrologer, once again here. And this time I'm not sitting by this microphone by myself. And I'm actually sitting here with my good friend and a very gifted energy healer, Mercedes. And how are you doing, Mercedes?
I'm doing well, Ian. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good as well. And
Good.
we took this time, guys, for you and for us as well to talk about energy healing, to talk about energy, to talk about channeling, I would say as well. And I wanted to introduce Mercedes to you guys as well, because I've had honor and kind of privilege to experience her working on me, or with me. Let's put it that way. For now, I think, I don't know, a year or something, quite a long time. And I've experienced a lot of good things and shifts and changes in my consciousness and energy. And I wanted to introduce you guys to her as well. So let's jump into it a little bit. And maybe Mercedes, you can maybe talk a little bit about how you got into all of this kind of energy work and all of these maybe not so common things that you do.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy because it's like, I guess at this point, it's like, it is so common in my life that it seems weird to look back at that and go like, oh yeah, there was a time when this wasn't what my life looked like. I would say that I was always really drawn towards helping people. Like when I was in like school and everything, it was like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to help people. I don't
Nice.
care what I do. And
Nice.
so I looked into a whole bunch of different careers, and I was like, ended up finding one that was like more body oriented. Like, so I got to like help people with their bodies, which was awesome. And that is what I do now, is essentially like body work. And I think when I first went into it, I was very like analytical, very sciencey, and like didn't want to look further at all. But then, and it was like going into that career, the schooling and everything was very intense, and it just sort of seemed like all the stars lined up for me to do it. So it was like really cool. Like there were a lot of different events along the way that I was like, wow, like this, it's undeniable that I should be doing this, even though I didn't know anything at the time.
Do you remember one very specific where we were like, oh yeah, this is kind of like this is it? Or was it like a sign, or was it like a sensation or a feeling, or do you remember?
I think it was just the fact that it was so easy. Like it was like there were a bunch of hoops that I had to jump through, and I just jumped through them. There was no like, oh, I don't want to do it, or putting it off. I just did it. And like everyone that I talked to just loved the career that it was. So I was like, yeah, like this sounds really good. And yeah, but then when it came time to actually like go into it, there are certain exams that you have to do it. To like be qualified, I guess. Like and one of them, I like just missed it by like 2% or something. Like it was devastating, because I was like, I still feel it. I was so sad, because it was like everything had gone so well up to that point, and then it was like, why don't I get to just jump into it and like start making money and all this stuff, and not be a student anymore. And now looking back, like that was pivotal, because then I had to start looking a little deeper inside myself and really questioning why. Right, because that was the first thing I did. So then I ended up going and seeing this intuitive life coach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was interesting, because I was like, well, you know what, at this point I have literally nothing to lose, so I'm gonna go do this. And during that session, this person was like, hey, you're there, like I think that you should come to this meditation with me. And I was like, nothing to lose. So sure, like, let's do it.
No.
And so I went, and that night was like, I have no words for how oh man. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really have no words for how transformational it was. Essentially it's a meditation of learning how to channel. And now I've been doing it for almost 5 years. So a while. But that first night, just, I remember the main message for me was like, I feel like if you opened your heart, you could really help a lot of people. And I was just like, what? No. Now I'm in pain. I don't want to do that. But then I went home, and I basically like completely broke down, and this energy came to me. This like really bright energy came to me, and I just knew everything was going to be fine. And yeah, so then I, at that point I still had like some shenanigans to get up to.
Yeah.
And so I kept getting up to shenanigans, but then probably like, I want to say 2017. So it was New Year's Day. So 2017 going into 2018. I woke up in the morning and I had a hangover, and I was like, that's it. This is the last hangover.
Nice.
I realized I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with my life. Like I really, I wasn't being authentic to what I really felt inside. And yeah, that was when I decided to change. So I started going to that meditation again, and, ended up passing my exam, going into the career. And then the career, like really working with people really allowed me, like paired with that meditation, allowed me to understand more each and every day. It was like there was never a boring day. It was always like very cool. And then I started getting into more subtle forms of treatment. And that was when I started to really understand energy a lot more, and not just like psychic and intuitive stuff, but actually energy moving and feeling that.
Just I have to say, like, I love that story because there was so much in it, like almost like failure, and then transformation and pain, and then the helpers come, the somebody comes, you should come here and help you, and then the like opening, spiritual opening. There's so much in that story, and I think hopefully a lot of people listening to this, watching this, I hope you can relate to this as well, because a lot of the times, something maybe difficult, maybe, that's at first, it might seem like a failure or some painful moment, actually twists and turns and kind of pushes you to the right direction where you're actually supposed to be going. And during the specific moment in time, and I really kind of wanted to bring that out to show people that maybe some of these hardships that we go through aren't always super bad. Okay, so now you're in that meditation, and energy start flowing, and I think the question I'm asking you, how long did it take you to start really trusting that? And because I think that's a really big one for people who work in these fields as well. Obviously there's always stuff to learn and stuff to experience, but maybe how long did it take you to kind of start really understanding and trusting these things and energies, let's put it that way?
Oh, I want to be like,
Yes.
right away. But that's so not the case. I think I always saw things, like when we were in the meditation with eyes closed, like I always saw things, and I always had messages for people. But it probably took me like 3 months to actually say anything, to actually share.
Yes.
And one of the people in the meditation would always be like, I know that there are people that are not sharing. And I would be like, no, I'm still not going to. I would say even now, there are still times when it's hard because you don't always want to tell everyone something that might be difficult. But I think there are layers to trust, because it's like sometimes I'll trust one thing and sometimes I won't trust it. And it's like, what I want to say is it's been more a journey of discernment, and trusting in myself came with learning what feels good and what doesn't, or what feels right and what doesn't. I don't know. Is that making any sense?
It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wanted, can I share a little bit of bits and pieces about your natal chart as well? Because I'm an astrologer.
Yeah.
And I did a reading for you. I did a couple, but like one of the, in the first one with you, I literally saw the grand trine in water. And I was like, okay, so this is a person that you can go to for these matters, because I'm not saying that the grand trine in water is the only thing that gives an indication that a person has capabilities to heal and help and channel information for people. Not at all, but it is a very strong indication. And when I saw it in Mercedes's chart, I was like, okay, so I can easily go to her, and those energies start moving, and the message, actually, this is also an important point. The messages she will give me are on point, and they're not some kind of imagination, or because there are weird things happening in this sphere as well at times. So just wanted to give that confirmation as well, so you have that in your natal chart. It's a very strong indication of a lot of intuitive healing gifts as well.
Yeah. And I think for years I just blew it off. Like I blew it off for so long, But I mean, I guess for an example, yesterday I was hearing all these self-doubt things in my head, and I was like, I just don't feel like I'm doubting myself today. So what the heck's going on? And so then I kind of just stepped back for a second, and I'm like, who is this? And I heard my cousin's voice, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's my cousin. So then I just hopped on the phone and sent him a voice message, and I was like, hey, stop doubting yourself. And he sends me this message. He's like, oh my God, how did you know? I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. I'm not just sitting there going out and going like, oh, I want to look at this and look at this and look at that. No, I'm living my life. I'm just trying to get up in the morning and have a coffee. And all of a sudden I'm hearing this message that needs to go out to someone who needs some help. So I don't know. It's it's not something, it's definitely not something I have to try at.
And literally from an astrological point of view, this is literally what the trine does. Let's say if there were squares there, like a T-square, maybe, for example, then it would be like the person is more even against it, or doesn't want to do it. It comes with more effort and kind of more, they don't want to do it. But when it's a trine, the energies are flowing, the energies are moving, just like, oh, here it is. It's just like call my cousin and just give an important message. And
basically,
from a personal perspective as well, I've gotten to experience Mercedes's gifts and energies so much now, and I'm very, very confirmed on them. But to be let's maybe dissect a little bit of what actually happens, and then I can share a little bit of what happened with me during one of our sessions.
Sure.
From your own words or from your experience, what actually happens, when let's say when you do a formal session like you did with me, even, I'm in Estonia, Mercedes is in Canada, so there's a huge, seemingly gap and a difference where we are. So what happens during these sessions?
That's like such a big
I know,
question.
I know, I know.
Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. What happens? So basically, I have to make sure that I'm grounded because I don't want anything to be, let's say, disrupting. Like, I don't want my own personal feelings to get in the mix of, let's say, you.
Mhm.
Like, if I'm all stressed out about, oh, my car is needing repairs or whatever, like, that can't come in. So I have to be like super grounded. And from there, like, honestly, what happens is I just watch. I just step back and watch, and I become a witness for whatever the universe wants to bring through for you. One of the things that happens that's actually getting a lot stronger right now is that my hands get super hot, like super hot. And I'm like, my palms will be sweating and I'm just like, what is this? What's going on? It doesn't scare me, but it's definitely fairly amazing.
Yeah.
And really it's that I just follow that feeling inside of, okay, so where do I need to put my hands energetically on this person, on this person's body, whether it's in person or where you are.
Oh yeah, like over the
across
internet.
the world,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Because energy doesn't care. Energy's not like, oh no, there's a wall in your house, I can't go through that. Like, really? No. Energy doesn't care. So really I'm just watching what's going on at your house in my mind, and then I'm seeing all kinds of different things. I'm seeing colors, I'm seeing like beings, I'm hearing guidance. So if I hear guidance that's coming through, then I'm usually sharing that as well. And then, yeah, just putting my hands wherever they need to go and just allowing whatever needs to happen. And I just watch the energy move through. Usually we're starting at the feet and just creating like, how would I explain this? It's like, you know, if you have like a hose that's plugged, you kind of have to start from the bottom to like open it up. You don't just like turn the tap on and force everything out. You can, but that's probably gonna suck. So you like start from the bottom and just start getting everything moving, and then and then everything just starts flowing, I guess.
I would say, that's a very accurate description. I will share now a little bit of what I experienced, because like Mercedes says, the hands specifically, like literally the moment you started working on me, and we were doing, I think it was even like Facebook Messenger or something, or maybe we used some messenger app basically. And she started working, and immediately I could feel the hands. Actually, I could literally feel the hands on my almost like energy, but like on the feet even starting to move, starting to do something. And I was like, oh, okay, something is really happening right now. And as we went like further into it, like every kind of thing you got, or information or energy adjustment or flow, you know, I am a pretty sensitive person in general, but I could feel everything. I could feel that the moves, that the shifts happening within my body. And I just maybe wanted to bring it out for those of you who are a little bit skeptic on maybe, you know, how can she do it to Canada, you know, Estonia, that's a huge difference. You know, energy, like you said, energy doesn't really care wherever you are, when you're tuned in, when you're kind of, that connection is made, that those things start really flowing. And, you know, in general, in a lot of aspects during the sessions, I felt really safe, really held, really, you know, after we were done, I went out to my fiance, said like, oh, you need to get this, you know. I was feeling like almost like I was balanced or healed, you know, in a really weird sense. And obviously we worked on a lot of the things, and some were specific. And you know, you give out practical examples on what to do as well. Like, you know, you suggested to put sage on my doors as well, so I did that. That was a game changer for us, because I postponed it really really long. You know,
I know you did.
you were
Because
on me
I
like
knew you did, because I had to remind you. I was like, I know he didn't do that. And I'm pretty sure I texted you. It's like, hey, did you do that yet?
Yeah. And I was really glad you did it, because I want to maybe address this specifically, because I was like, oh, I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to get sage. I was like, ah. And then you were on me, and I was like, okay, there must be some sage at home. And there was actually.
Oh.
And once we put on the doors, it was like, it's almost like I felt like my own specific kind of, like, I don't know, energy field. Let's put it that way. Energy field got stronger, and we started feeling like safer at home as well. And it was kind of like, go ahead.
I think it was bay leaves.
Yeah, I think one of those. Yeah, bay leaves.
Yeah.
Like bay leaves.
So.
Yeah. That's a good. Yeah, but anyway, it was it brought, like, almost like the forces of nature, or forces, energies of the plants are protecting us, and kind of like this, they created a sensation of like a good castle. You know, your home is your castle, and that kind of sensation and feeling really came. So there's a lot of stuff that can come through Mercedes, you know, that can help you in a variety of ways, guys. And this is what I'm saying. And I just want to ask, do you have anything more to add along those lines, or are you
kind of like, I guess what I'm thinking is, like, because so, like, I feel like it's so easy to compartmentalize spirituality. Like, in this time and space, I'm spiritual. And I feel like, for me, it's just my life. Like, it's not like, you know, in the meditation is when I do my spiritual time. That's when no, it's like literally everything in my life I'm paying attention to. My awareness is always on. There are times when I obviously have to take a break, but my awareness is always on. So when I'm doing a session, like for you, for example, with the bay leaves, that bay leaf thing is something that I like saw one time. And then it's like, then I had to remember that, and it's in the cloud. It's like, I don't always keep everything in here. It's in the cloud. But then it comes in through, and it's like, okay, that's specific for you. That's why I had to read that thing forever ago, to bring it through for that.
Yeah, totally. One thing you raised there is interesting to hear from your perspective. Like you said, cleansing. Do you have any kind of your own, I don't know, personal cleansing practice, or clearing practices you do that maybe help you ground all of that, you know, spiritual energy? Because I think a lot of people watching this channel, usually my channel, are pretty sensitive, intuitive people who need maybe a little bit more of that clearing of themselves as well.
I think the best, it's kind of like, when's the best time to buy a house? Like 15 years ago. It's like, the best thing to do to clear yourself is always be aware, and always be aware of energy before it comes in to bother you. Obviously, like, there are things, you know, from childhood that eventually, you know, you want to clear, maybe with energy or with counseling or with some kind of healer or whatever. So yeah, I use like sage for that, sage, and like different medicines that I've picked up along the way that I've learned about. And the thing is, like, I'm always asking for that. I'm always asking for like, what are the things that need to come into my life for for like to help people better, really. And so yeah, I have a lot of this stuff, a lot of these medicines for clearing, just that I've picked up along the way. I feel like I'm trailing. Okay, what was the question again?
Like what, let's say you are feeling like maybe not grounded, and
Okay.
maybe you need to, feel like there's something going on. What do you personally do in that case? Let's say, and you maybe you don't have the access immediate to Joe or somebody, and you'll need to do it on your own. Like, is it sage, or is it like what is your kind of go-to moves in those
My
situations?
go-to moves. Really, it's closing my eyes
Mm.
and grounding into the earth, knowing that the earth is there to be supportive. The earth is the mother.
Yeah.
And feeling that safety, first of all, knowing that I'm safe. And then I kind of just go through, where do I feel it?
Nice.
And I think a really big shift for me was wanting to see everything, because there were a lot of people in my life that I knew inside they were bothering me, like, and not being supportive for me, but I chose to ignore it because I had an agenda of what I wanted my life to look like. But once that filter and I became like, no, you know what? I really want what's best for me, not what's best for them. I started to actually see. And then it was like, okay, not only do I need to clear my energy from them, I need them physically to be out.
So
and I need to make changes.
So those clearings, if I'm understanding correctly from what you're saying, these are happening, energetically. We're grounding ourselves as well, but we at very often we need to make, material and practical changes in our environment, in our relationships as well.
Absolutely. And it could be as simple as food too. Like your energy could be low because you ate eggs and your body didn't want eggs. It's like, then that's where the awareness piece comes in. You look at the egg and you're like, does my body want this? And if the answer is no, then don't eat it. Right? Like it can become as simple as that.
I actually do like the simplicity of it. I do like to keep things simple in my own kind of practices as well. The simple, the better. Like the easier, the better. It's you don't need to do this kind of like Joe does. but
that's my favorite thing in the
world. It's pretty funny. But you can go simple. Just bring yourself in the moment. Ground yourself. Visual. Sometimes when it's summer, you don't even have to visualize anything. You can just go and be barefoot on the ground, and that already starts to ground us. That already starts to clear, some of the, gunk or something that's there. So it doesn't have to be really crazy, don't have to go all woo-woo. Just ask, do I want this?
Totally. And again, it's awareness. It's asking inside, what do I need? What do I need to do? Because what I do is completely different from what you do, from what Joe does, from, whoever. Because we all have a different level of awareness. So maybe it is, going to the beach and walking. It can be so different. Like, and so that's why it's like awareness and asking inside, because it's going to be specific to you.
I think that's a really good way of kind of wrapping this thing up, and like awareness and understand that things. But basically, what I'm saying and piggybacking on Mercedes as well is like awareness in the moment and asking the things specifically for you as well, because it is important to understand that even energy shifts during the day, and what your friend or spouse or whoever needs something totally different in the moment, and you might need something else entirely. But for those of you guys who think you need, maybe you're in more difficult situations and you need help in balancing your energies, need something to be cleared, I couldn't recommend, Mercedes highly. She's really good at what she does, and I do truly recommend you getting a session and working with her if you need something cleared and you feel like you know, sometimes we can't clear everything on our own, and it's really good when somebody who has the kind of warmth and care to be there, and actually the kind of vision as well, I would say, to be there and help you through that. So for those of you who want a session with Mercedes, there will be a link below the video, and just contact her through the link. And hopefully we'll do more of these in the coming future. And thank you very much for watching, listening. Goodbye for now.